Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel after a Christmas break, a slightly longer enforced Christmas break, because as I said, we were going to have an episode on Christmas Day. I got sick that week.
He
Everyone in
lied.
the UK, yeah, I know, everyone in the UK got ill. It was horrendous, coughing, not getting out of bed. So sadly, there was no video on Christmas Day. There was no Good Man Goes to War, which will come, I believe, probably next week. We're easing ourselves back in again, once again, with some news. Because although we didn't put anything out on Christmas Day, the show did.
Yes.
They released a 60-second look at the 60th special, maybe, which was fairly surprising. I think they only announced it on Christmas Eve that they were doing it.
Yeah.
Most of it, I say most of it, it wasn't necessarily anything new that at least people that are following the show were aware of.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is good. You don't want stuff spoiled.
I think they definitely have like a set collection of things. Like we're gonna show this to make you think like this is probably how one special will go down. But
yes,
probably like special 2 and 3 or whatever. We're not going to see anything of them until after
until the next time
2 airs or something. Yeah.
Well, that's if you've not seen the 60th trailer, A, why are you watching this video, and B, why haven't you? It's been out for about 2 weeks at this point. So go and watch that, because we're not going to do like a scene by scene breakdown thing. That's a lot of effort, which we don't have time for. So we're just going to chat about it. I've got some questions to sort of pose after the trailer. So the first one, as we sort of hinted at, how much are we seeing? Is this just stuff from trailer 1? Is this from special 1, or is it just 1, 2, and little bits from all 3 of them? Or it feels like it's just from the first one. It feels like this is a trailer for an episode rather than a series.
Yeah, I think if anything's not going to be in the first one, it might be the shot of Shooty at the end.
Yes, definitely.
But of course, he might have his own little thread throughout all 3 of them. So maybe that's the final scene of the first one. But then why would they put that in the trailer? But yeah, it feels very much like I think the first special is probably going to be dealing with a lot of the Donna stuff. And then maybe the beat the meat insect people kind of thing is like the alien invasion plot. I feel like that's an episode in itself, and maybe the Neil Patrick Harris stuff is a separate episode as well. So maybe it's like 1 and 2 or something, and I think 3 might be a complete secret as to what goes down in that one. But yeah, I think what we're seeing is like a mostly cohesive, like this is how it's going to be, at least for like the first episode, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's definitely I would assume it's mostly all first episode footage. Maybe part of, well, I mean, again, if we will talk about what we've seen on set and set leaks and all that kind of thing. So if people don't want to go in clean, I'd step away. I'd say that maybe Neil Patrick Harris is like introduced right at the start, but we know from the scene shot in Bristol that whole chaos scene, Donna is there. So maybe it's an episode 2 thing.
It might be kind of like Sherlock series 3, like the first 2 episodes kind of still had standalone stories, but you did see that Magnuson guy or whatever it was briefly throughout all of them. Or Moriarty, he was in every episode of series 2, but briefly in the first 2, and then he was like the baddie. Maybe that's going to be his role in the 3 specials. Maybe
that wouldn't surprise me, because I think he'll definitely have he'll be the overarching villain of these 3 episodes, I would assume. I don't think he'll be a one-off one, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's the reason why these aliens are invading, and why they're invading so close, or at least why they're potentially tracking down Beep the Meep so close to Donna's house. It wouldn't surprise me if that's all some kind of master plan to bring it all together. But yeah, speaking of which, who do we think Neil Patrick Harris is? Are we still going with Toy Maker, or have your feelings changed?
I'm hoping it's the Toy Maker, and we do have that shot of the like toy emporium shop in the trailer as well. Someone walking into it, it feels like whoever that person is going to die, and then the opening title start or something like that. But yeah, that is my hope, because I feel like that would be you know, I mean, anyone who isn't really familiar with the classic series and stuff is going to be like, who the fuck is this? But you know, people who have been fans of the show, and it is the 60th anniversary special, you know, I think that's often a character that people have wanted to see again. Because, you know, he was in one William Hartnell story. So we are thinking basically 60 years ago since they were last in it. So it would be a fun character to bring back into it. You know, I don't think there's many left that's like we need to see them again, or it would be fun to see them again, and actually have some sort of impact, even if it's just on like the diehard fans. And I think the Celestial Toymaker is a cool one. It also, you know, if there is an ongoing mystery as to why the hell is David Tennant here again, why has he got this face again? The Toymaker is a good explanation for that. And I do think, you know, it's a very interesting foe. Should we get that? Maybe it's a gender swapped Rani, and they've, you know. But,
yeah, well, they could do that, couldn't they? You know?
I'd be very, very surprised if it's just the Master again.
It's actually Susan.
It's Susan. Yeah, we've had that tease from Russell, and now
could you imagine?
Susan's regenerated into Neil Patrick
Harris. Could you imagine? She's pissed. She's back and she's pissed.
Yeah, it would be quite something. She was absolutely fine in the 20th anniversary, but in the 40 years,
it has been 40 years since then. Yeah, so you never know.
Has it? Time travel, but
that's true.
Yeah, my hope is that it is the Toymaker, because I think that's an interesting character to bring back, especially because that original story with him is lost to time mostly. So it'd be fun to have like a complete story with that character again. You know, it brings up a topic of conversation about classic Doctor Who, might get some people into it and stuff like that. And if there's any time to do it, I guess it's during these 60th specials and anniversary specials in general. So that's my hope. I don't think it's the Master again. I think we need to rest the Master for a little bit. And plus, I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed they just keep Sasha, but I doubt that. But either way, my hope is it's the Toymaker. But they might think, like, we know Russell knows the fandom very well. He knows that's who we're going to assume it is. So maybe that's just something that we know. And we're like, haha, and then there's going to be other curveballs that we have no clue about, which is almost certainly the case. But it might also just be a complete red herring all over again. And he's a good guy, and he just wants to dance with David Tennant. Who knows?
Yes. Speaking of dancing with David Tennant, how musical do we think this is going to be?
Yes.
Obviously, he comes back from Neil Patrick Harris comes from a theatre background. He's done countless musicals. He's had musical numbers in shows that don't need it, like How I Met Your Mother. There's a scene in this which looks very American Beauty, where he's got surrounded by rose petals and he looks like he's doing something.
Yeah, I missed that shot when I first watched it, because I was just there like watching it on my phone, telling my dad to shut up. But
classic Christmas,
Merry Crisis. But yeah, so I didn't see that, and then someone put it on Twitter, like that, a screen grab of it, to be like, oh, we're getting a musical number, because it was very Tallulah from Daleks and Manhattan-esque vibes. Yeah. I hope he sings "You Put the Devil in Me" again. That'd be very funny. But yeah, knowing Neil Patrick Harris, I'm sure they've cast him for a very particular reason, and it wouldn't surprise me if we need someone who can pull off a musical number. Let's just go all out.
Hey, and we know David Tennant's done musical numbers, because he did the excellent Blackpool.
He's a Blackpool.
So he can do it
with the next Doctor himself, David Morrissey.
Yeah, David Morrissey.
Oh, I saw a tweet about that earlier, and they said, what was it? How do they describe his character in the next Doctor? Like, he high-fived a USB, and it just made me laugh. That's David Morrissey's character in Doctor Who. That made me laugh. Yeah. But yeah, Blackpool was quite the ride.
It certainly is a show.
Yeah, maybe that's what the 14th Doctor's all about. Maybe he's just big into musical numbers, and that's going to be a thing. How it would fit in, I don't know. It could be kind of like the Joker and the Killing Joke, when he kidnaps Gordon and does a musical number at him to kind of try and drive him insane. Maybe it is like a mind control-esque sequence. Maybe Donna takes drugs now, and she's just hallucinating all of this to try and capture what she lost. I don't know.
Well, I mean, hey, if she's doing the drugs, that's a good explanation as to why she's seeing the Doctor, and it might get away with her brain thing. So
yeah, definitely. They'll get away with that for sure. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I think it would be a surprise to have him in it and not have him sing. That seems to be his bag. As long as he doesn't sing with the accent, I think I'd be okay with it. I think it's whoever he's playing, Toymaker or not, I think he's going to be a crazy son of a gun. So I think it's going to be well within the character's rights to kind of go crazy. I mean, we're getting Beep the Meep, we're getting insect people. They're clearly just being like, let's just go fucking nuts with these. So, you know, it wouldn't fit into most Doctor Who episodes, I would say, do a musical number, but I have a feeling it would fit into this one. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that we get. And, you know, Rara Rasputin went down extremely well in Power of the Doctor. So I'm more than happy to get another one.
To be fair, most times when actual music is used and there's like some form of like musical number, it tends to be fairly well received.
I think it works.
It just needs a good context for it, and Neil Patrick Harris being a crazed man that's just putting on a show, so to speak, would definitely fall into that.
He's playing P.T. Barnum.
I mean, you never know.
I mean, in real life, that man was a villain. So
yep. There you go. He was an alien. That's the explanation.
There we go.
My next point, and you did mention them, Beep the Meep. We get our first look. I see, because obviously there's been so much talk around this character since it was sort of leaked on set about who it is and their background in the comics. They can naturally discard all of that and just say, no, it's actually an innocent civilian person being hunted or whatever. But you know, the context is this is actually an evil genius.
This is a war criminal.
Yeah, and they're being the people. The insect people are like tracking them down to stop them. So do we think they're going to stick with that and Rose is being manipulated by Beep the Meep because of the cute exterior, or do we think they're going to play it straight and have it just be an actual alien that's being hunted for innocent reasons?
Yeah, it could be a Captain Marvel situation where they make the Skrulls the good guys, even though they've always been bad guys, and like throw expectations like that. I kind of hope Beep the Meep's evil, just because same. I really want that reveal on screen, and again, it's just bonkers. And if it's not that, what would be the point of bringing in the character from the comics for the first time in live action and then not actually doing the thing in the comics that they're, you know, so very well. If this was like they've been in it before and you're like doing a redemption story for them or something, fair enough. You're doing something a bit different with them, and then you can kind of do your own thing. But it's such a specific character to bring in and use. It would be weird to not, you know, actually adapt that story somewhat properly. There might be twists and turns along the way, maybe, or maybe
she's a triple agent.
Yeah, maybe Beep turns good at the end or something. I don't know. But yeah, I really want an evil Miriam Margolis because when she was a very similar kind of character in Merlin, it was a lot of fun. So I would like to see that again. I think it would be a shame if we don't get evil Beep the Meep. You know, villains can be sweet and stuff, and I think that's kind of
the Pating is a prime example.
Exactly, and I think the social commentary of, you know, this adorable looking creature being fucking evil and a war criminal. That feels like prime Russell T Davies, and he couldn't resist doing that. And I think that's probably why he's taken the chance to use Beep. So I'm hoping that's the case. I think it would be kind of a shame if it's just, let's make them cute and stuff so we can sell plushies. I hope. I mean, you'd sell plushies even if it's evil. So
that's it. I hope they do still sell plushies and sell pop vinyls, because I will be all over that.
I've still got my plushie adipose. I will put Beep the Meep next to that adipose.
Love that, and I've got a pop vinyl of the Pating. So I'll take it. I'll take what I can get from Beep the Meep. I hope it's the breakout role that we all want, and it's not just a 5 minute. Because I think there's a chance that Beep the Meep could be the cold open, and it could be how Donna and her family get woven into the Doctor's story again. Is that this happens at a field near Donna's house, and Rose is seeing this commotion and she runs into Beep the Meep and then brings it home and blah blah blah. You know,
I know in Doctor Who magazine they've got a comic going, haven't they, with 14. And it's like bridging the gap between the end of Power of the Doctor and the start of the specials. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ends with like a cliffhanger ending with Beep the Meep showing up, and then it's like, oh, it's still in the comic and then it's being brought into live action. I think that would be an interesting way of going about it. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, you know, if the character just on screen stuff. I don't know if I could stomach having it for like a whole hour
For 3
long thing.
episodes.
Because I'm either gonna absolutely love it or I will hate everything about it. So I think it probably is going to be like a sparingly used thing. Maybe more the focus will be on insect boys.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It could be that the Doctor ends up tracking Meep because he sees that, or Beep, the Meep. I don't know which one you want to shorten it to. Tracking them, her, it, until, because there's an invasion, then they all just similar to Partners in Crime, where they just converge at each other, which would make sense. And that kind of makes sense with the characters.
If Beep is evil, it might be working for Neil Patrick Harris, and it's just like a means to an end, and it's like, haha, now I've done my bit. See ya. I'm gonna go off and kill more planets.
I killed Donna. Oh no, Donna didn't die. What?
I've eaten Donna alive.
Didn't even get a chance to see the Doctor
Beep just
again.
spits up Donna's leg and then disappears, and she is the villain of series 14.
Amazing. I'd love that. Probably not gonna happen.
Probably
not. Speaking of Donna, they do hammer home the whole if she remembers she's dead thing.
Yes.
Is that going to be a mistake? Yes. Should they have just not have put it in the trailer and just sort of had people be like, and acknowledge it in the episode? Because they've escaped it once, and I'd be very curious to see how they do it again. I'm all for it, but and I can probably look past it because I like the character and the actor, but I'm not sure how if it's another bullshit. Oh, I did this, and I just
there's
didn't
a backup
tell you.
To the backup, actually.
Yeah.
That's
it could
my
be
main concern about these.
Yeah, it could be that there's a bubble universe maybe, and it's not the real Donna, and that's how she can remember and all that kind of thing, maybe. But again, another cop out, is it? But
I'd prefer that though.
Yeah, I prefer it to just I have another backup, because she never remembered the Doctor in End of Time.
No.
She didn't.
Well, she remembered the monsters and stuff rather than
and she sort of saw him, and then it went and then whatever. Whereas this one, it seems like she remembers him and and interacts with him, which she didn't do in End of Time. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. I can't think of a way that they can do it without it being like it's fine.
Yeah.
My thought is just it's Neil Patrick Harris, and that'll be their get out clause. He's doing it. He's the one that turned him into David. He's the one that did it. There's the whole rumor that maybe he's a fan of the show, so to speak, a fan of the Doctor, and he's been watching the whole time, and he liked these ones the best, and he's put them to maybe that's his thing. He's just a crazed fan, which wouldn't surprise me again with Russell if that's what he wants to put in his show, a crazed fan of Doctor Who.
A very meta commentary, because like, these are my favorites, this is what I'm making, and then the villain's also just doing that.
Yes, so I think that's probably the best way they could go around it, and it would be it would piss off some people because of that topic, but I think that would also make the most sense. And it then also gives you the excuse to bring in other characters and monsters and things. And even just for like 5 minutes, Neil Patrick has been like, I've missed the Slovene, and just brings them in. And like, I actually, no, I don't want to. And then just gets rid of them again. I think that could be a good way to do it. But I'm not expecting Donna to die, but it would be a very bold move if she does.
I think for me, if she remembers, but then she ends up dying at the end, that's the only way to redeem revisiting this for me. They've already undone Rose's exit in series 2 and the impact that had on me, and Donna's exit is still one of my favorite companion exits, and I think they're probably going to take away all that emotional impact that has on me with this. And fine, 6th anniversary, do what you want, but the
new ending has to be just as emotional.
I think there would have to be a reason why 15 probably never revisits the Nobles after these specials, and maybe Donna dying would be one way of
they hate him now and he should go away, never see
you killed again. Wilf. So we'll see. It's a wait and see situation with that. That's my big concern about the 60th is undoing all that good work that series 4 did. But I don't know what they're doing with it yet, so
and then I guess you've also got to think, is that a casual fan, which they're obviously trying to target with this, probably doesn't care. Putting it bluntly, they won't care about that. They'll think that, and then they won't give it too much.
Casual fans will turn it off at Beep the Meep anyway.
100%. If there wasn't anything else in it. So 15 not revisiting the nobles is something else I want to talk about. Where is he? What's he doing?
Where is he? Where are you? Where are you?
Where are
Come
you?
on!
Where are you?
Let's be having you.
Russell said that the grey background isn't where he is.
Yeah.
So what's spoilery enough to, for him? Is he going to be surrounded by Daleks? Is he going to be in front of the Time Lord Citadel?
Yeah.
In a different TARDIS, maybe? I don't. What are the options? Where could he be that's so spoilery they had to put a cloudy background?
Is he with the Guardians of the Edge? Because when that first dropped, people were like, "Oh my god, he's at the Guardians of the Edge place." I was like, "That looks nothing like where Jodie was. It's so much brighter." So maybe that actually is where he is.
Yeah, but even so, they could just put, I wouldn't necessarily say that's spoilery enough to change the background. The way
might be if that's how they bring old Doctors back.
Maybe, but again, they've done it again. I don't know if they've
done it again.
I don't know if they do that so soon after doing it in this one, in Power of the Doctor, maybe.
Depends if Neil Patrick Harris is the Master or not.
That's true, yeah. I still wouldn't say that unless the Doctors are in the background, I wouldn't say that a rocky background is spoilery enough. Unless maybe it's because this was shown the first time we saw this was shown immediately after Power of the Doctor, so maybe it'd be in their minds, but
I don't think it is the Edge because he's in 14's clothes, so I think
he would know
regenerated
what was
at this point
there as well.
Yeah, it might be like a new TARDIS or something like that. I really don't know. But yeah, anything goes in regards to that, because
it could be that's just after he's regenerated, and that's literally the last shot of the specials.
It might just be that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't put it past it, but
because he is wearing the shirt and the tie and stuff, so who can say? It will be exciting to find out, because I don't know. I mean, we're probably not going to know until the air how big of a role Ncuti actually plays in the specials. It might just be that one little bit. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, especially if he's getting a festive special just after it, they might not want to do it,
because this is this is the first time we've seen footage of someone playing the next Doctor to come before they've actually regenerated into them. So we're in uncharted waters anyway, and the fact that by the time this airs, it's going to be like 3 or 4 weeks until his special airs anyway. They might just be like, "Wow, fuck it, just see that anyway," because you're going to be seeing him again very soon.
Yeah, exactly. Now, my last one, I sort of thought about this in comparison to the 50th. Does this feel like a big enough celebration at the minute? I know we're only in the first week of January, so we've not seen too much, but if you think about the marketing for the 50th, where it's all these big bombastic posters and trailers and cinematics and all that kind of stuff, we might get more of that towards the 60th. But
I think it's just too early for that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's because it does very much feel like this is just, at the minute, with the trailer we've seen, it very much feels like this is just a celebration of Series 4, if you will.
Yes.
There might be more moving forwards. Doctor Who's Twitter account today has been like, we're celebrating everything, so they're kicking on with it now. But at the minute, it very much feels quite small scale and low key.
Yes.
They're not because if you think of the trailer for the 50th, which only came out 2 months before the actual 50th anniversary itself.
Yeah.
But that was still, you got the scope and the scale, maybe because it addressed the Time War and that kind of adds the grandiose elements to it in the first place. But obviously, with there being effectively that we know of, no returning villains in this trailer so far, or that we're aware of in the episodes, it kind of also plays into the whole this is standalone thing. I mean, that's fine, but because obviously a 60th anniversary isn't as big as a 50th anniversary. As strange as that is, but yeah,
it might be like Special 3 is the 60th, and that's when everything kicks off. Because if they don't celebrate all of Doctor Who, or at least feel like they do, it's not really a 60th anniversary special, so they can't really call it that. I would say, I think that would be kind of a failure, and the fact that we haven't really, in the grand scheme of things, seen all that much. There's going to be lots of surprises in there.
100%.
But yeah, I think from what they've shown, the concerns of it's just celebrating Series 4. I can see that it's a valid criticism, and one that I very much can see and almost share in a way. But also, I think they're very purposefully only showing the bits that we would expect and that we know. So
stuff that we've already seen leaked, I think, is what they've shown.
Yeah,
if that we're aware of.
Yeah, if what we're seeing now is what the specials are, I will be extremely disappointed. But Russell's a smart man. That's not all this is. And we're just going to have to be patient. The things, it's still, this time in 10 months, it still probably wouldn't have aired, or will be like days away from the first one if they air weekly. So, we've got such a long time. And like you said, the 60th in the grand scheme of things isn't as big of a deal as 50 years. That's a big thing. They did a big convention for that and everything. I think I wasn't even sure we'd get a 6th anniversary special, so the fact that we're getting 3 technically, more than enough for me. That's fine. You don't need to do anything else. 30th anniversary, the crossover with EastEnders, like Big Grateful, and it was fucking awful. And 40th, we got a big fat 0, so because it was gone.
Well, to be fair, in the 40th, they were like, "You're gonna get a new series," and everyone's like, "Ooh." So,
you have to wait a year and a half. Happy
exactly.
40th.
It's coming.
It's coming back on its 41st anniversary or something. I get those complaints. And maybe you can accuse Special 1 of being like that, because that might just be all it is. And I think it might just build up and escalate into what the 60th is actually ultimately going to be. We'll have to see. I know, we've already had David come back for 1 anniversary, so for him to be like the lead Doctor in another, I can see where those complaints come from. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we will see Matt Smith again, because at this point he left the show 10 years ago this year, so I would love to see him again, because we haven't gotten him back yet. And it seems unlikely we'll get Eccleston and Capaldi, but it'd be nice if they even CGI them or do anything like that.
Hey, they can use their stock footage like they did last time.
Exactly. And for my next trick, they just use that one clip of Eccleston again.
Yeah, could you imagine?
That'd be hilarious. They just flip it.
It's upside down as well, so you can't tell.
Yeah, they put a filter on it.
Yeah, but that's his new catchphrase.
It's a bit foggy in there.
He says it then.
For my next trick,
he always says that kind of thing.
That's the new fantastic now. So just keep using that one. But I think it may start off as like a Series 4 celebration, which is a choice, but Russell knows it's the 60th anniversary. I think this is his chance to write something on this scale as well. And compared to when he was showrunner, I think Doctor Who much more embraces, doing the classic series references and bring stuff back. They were quite tentative about that in, the reboot when it first started. School Reunion was a huge risk, like confirming like this is a continuation of the classic series with Sarah Jane coming in. But now we've moved on so much from that, and the Power of the Doctor, we had the old actors back, just looking as they are now, and I think now that we're in a much more comfortable space to do that, I don't think Russell could resist. Well, I'm going to dip my toe in that, and let's bring Susan into it at last, and let's bring the Celestial Toymaker into it. So I'm sure, he probably relished getting to write for like 10 and 11 in Sarah Jane Adventures. And who would say no to trying that opportunity again? So I do think he's aware of that, and he'll embrace that. It just depends on, will that be all 3 specials, and when he embraces that, will it just be 2 and 3? Will it just be 3? We'll get something, I'm sure. If it was just the 1 special we were getting, and then this was the trailer we got for it, I'd be very, very concerned. But knowing that we have 3 episodes, and 3 hour-long ones at that, I think we will be rewarded in the end, and it will be a celebration of 60 years, not just a celebration of 1 series. Like what, 15 years ago. So
well, I think he's already spoken about how much Power of the Doctor has sort of let him do what he wanted to do in his specials, which does definitely imply that maybe he was trying to find a way to bring back past Doctors without having them with them looking like they look now. So, and it tied in nicely to what he was doing now. So I think that
because Chris Chibnall said, didn't he, like they talked to him about it, and he's like, funny enough, that kind of what you want to do kind of leans into what I do in Jodie's last episode. So we're going to get something like that.
It definitely makes sense, and I don't think that just ended at having the Doctor be David Tennant again. We all assume that it's because she degenerated from the Master to herself again, but it could have been more than that. He could have been talking about the companion group and all that kind of stuff, having they all had this all, whatever. And looking at November of this year, if we want to place bets on when the episodes could air, say they air every weekend, and there is 3 of them, maybe it's Saturday the 11th, 18th, and 25th, because the 23rd is a Thursday, so I don't think they'd put it on then.
Right. Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they do one on the 18th and then have a whole week of, marketing and blitz of just mini-sodes, prequels, teaser trailers, all that kind of thing, leading up to the big finale on the 25th that celebrates the whole show. Because it would feel strange to start on the 4th and then end on the weekend of the 18th, 19th.
Yeah, and November 23rd, 2013 just so happened to be a Saturday anyway, so that worked out quite well for them.
So and that's,
I don't know what
if,
they would do.
That's if Russell decides to move back to the Saturday formula. It could be that he sticks with Sundays. We're not entirely sure who gets to make that call. It could be the BBC, could be Disney by the end. They often release their Disney Plus shows on Thursdays and Wednesdays and Fridays, I think it is. So it could be the Doctor Who starts on a Wednesday, which is a prime time for dropping on
what they did with Peter Davison.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially in America, a lot of shows in America don't tend to stick to just weekends if they're the big shows. A lot of them are on Friday nights, Thursday nights.
When it aired on Saturdays in Australia, it aired on Sundays for them because of time zones and stuff. And
even
Jodie's era aired on Mondays for them, so it's not.
And you think of like Game of Thrones and The Last of Us coming up as well, House of the Dragon. They all aired on Sunday evenings in America, but that's Monday morning for us. Which is where the BBC has obviously got their Sunday evening big high drama from, because then it's fresh in your mind. You go to work the next day, you talk about it, and go, But now that people aren't in the offices, that might not be as big of a thing. They might be looking at when's the best time to get the social media reach. Is it dropping it at 8 a.m. in the morning for people to watch throughout the day, and then it get word of mouth so that people see it during the day and go home and go, oh, I'm going to watch that? I don't know. It's a changed world since Russell left 13 years ago. So we shouldn't expect the same kind of marketing and same kind of style, well, not style, but delivery that was there in 2010.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see. All I want is more surrounding media and more Slovene. But I want more books. I want more toys. I just want more stuff for the show, especially with the 60th anniversary. It's the prime time to do new novels of, for the 50th they did a new novel for each Doctor, I think. Don't think we're getting that, but it would be nice if we had something similar, even if it's just for Doctors that haven't had anything recently. Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi being prime examples of not having much media in the past 5 years. David Tennant's had enough. David Tennant's done, he's done his time.
He's got so much stuff. Just a couple of days ago, they announced a new Big Finish 10th Doctor thing. I'm like, oh, here we go. And House of the Dragon, it was huge, and people are like discovering Matt Smith for the first time. That was prime time to do some 11 stuff, I would say.
Exactly.
Even if you get Jacob Dedman to do his impression for Big Finish, because he's very good.
Well, that's it. You can do Big Finish, you can do books, you can do all sorts. You can produce new lines of toys, which I know they are doing, obviously. But this is, if there was ever a time to go big on the show and do loads of merch, it's this year.
Yeah.
Are we going to get that? Who knows? Did you have any other takeaways from the trailer before we wrap up?
Let me just skim through it and see. Neil Patrick Harris is waving. Donna's sad, running.
Oh, Skinny Man.
Skinny Man. New logo.
Are you offended that Skinny Man is Skinny Man?
No, I mean, I get why that might be a triggering word for some people, and that sucks for them. That sounds so patronizing. Sucks for you. Sucks for you, people who have this awful trauma from being, bullied for being overweight and stuff. But it's not like that wasn't what he was always called in the show, and it's not like it's a new joke they're just introducing now. It's a reference. It's probably going to be I hope it's a one-off joke. And they've just remember when in series 4. So again, it doesn't apply to me, and I'm not really one to speak as someone who gets triggered by that word or that brings back bad memories for you. And if it does, that's very unfortunate. Again, that sounds really patronizing. I'm not trying to be patronizing, but yeah,
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but it doesn't affect me, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I again, I get it. But for me personally, it's a gag from the show back then. Is it outdated? That's up for debate, but it is a thing that existed, so it's a reference. It's a 60th.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Do you think Neil Patrick Harris is keeping his accent?
God, I hope not. I really hope not. I think that his character's quite the showman. I hope he goes through lots of different voices, or I hope that's just him being kooky for a scene. Like, look how crazy I am, so crazy. But if that is his accent, then I hope his screen time is limited. Sorry, Neil, but yeah, maybe I'll get used to it. But
I mean,
it's just a very, very white man doing that accent, and I'm like, please stop.
I mean, it's German, so it's fine.
Oh, it's fine. Yes, of course.
Most Germans are white, so.
yes, but is Neil Patrick Harris German? Do they need to make a caricature of that accent? So. I don't think so.
I mean, no, they don't need to. But part of me maybe thinks that's his like toy shop persona, because it could be worldwide premiere.
Yeah,
saying
I hope there's a dramatic turn, and then they just give him a voice.
Yeah. Also, man entering shop. We can't see who it is. My first thought was that maybe it was Sean, Donna's husband.
Right.
We do see him cowering at one point, but that's the only other shot we see of him in the trailer. So, it could be that he goes in the shop, gets captured, and they go and rescue him and whatever. But
that might be his role in it.
Yeah, I don't think we see enough of the person to sort of say who it is, because some people could argue that maybe it's David Tennant, but. Or it's because I think they've got dark hair, so it's probably not Neil Patrick Harris. But
from the back, I would say it does look a bit like Sean.
Yeah, that's my theory. But who knows? Also, do we think the kid's gonna die? The one that's getting got by the alien? I hope so. Russell's not scared of killing kids.
Oh,
he killed a child in school reunion. So
yeah.
The child did get eaten by the big bat people, so it wouldn't surprise me if a child gets killed in this one.
A child
certainly shows its pedigree if they kill a child.
Yes.
Like The Walking Dead did, when it's like, oh my god, they did this.
Oh my god, that didn't happen in the comics.
And how when you see The Last of Us, you can be like, oh my god, I can't believe they've done this.
God, they released a still of that scene yesterday.
Oh god,
that's going to be brutal.
God, I'm not ready for that. But yes, that is.
Join us next week for our Last of Us.
I mean, don't tempt me, because I would be very tempted to do that, because I love the game and I'm so tempted for the show. I'm excited for that. But yeah, that is it for our 60th trailer talk today. Who knows what's coming out? I know Doctor Who magazine came out yesterday.
Yes,
I've not had a chance to read through that yet. I've not got it, so there could be all sorts in there, because Russell loves.
Yeah. It's an interview with Millie Gibson.
Yes, as well as Russell's usual editor bit and production notes as well from one of the people that runs it. So I will have to have a look at that over the weekend and see if there's anything interesting. And again, we are in Doctor Who year, so we could get Who year. Yeah, well, the Doctor Who Twitter account officially acknowledged it today, so So I'm all for that. Love the show, absolutely adore everything to do with it, except Love and Monsters. That one can't get in the bin. I joke. Fear Her could get in the bin. Love and Monsters has some redeeming qualities.
You can meme Love and Monsters more. Exactly.
But yes, that'll be it for now. We should be back next week with A Good Man Goes to War. Yes, that's it. Bye.
Bye.